Yes, it says we are live. Oh my gosh, we're live. We're live. We're
We're
live.
live.
We're live. I am so excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us, whether you're joining live, whether you're joining later, thank you so much for being here. Um, it's the holiday. Didn't really pin that down before we actually got this lovely guest that we're talking to today lined up, because we had some other plans and then we switched because of the importance of this conversation. Um, so I'm hoping people will tune in later if you're not eating, dinner and falling asleep or whatever people do on the holidays. um, but welcome, Annette. So glad to see you. I am so happy to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this interview.
Yeah, you are more than welcome. Okay, so I think I told you a little bit. Normally, what I do is I talk about how I met the author, how long we've known each other. And in thinking about our meeting, it's been at least a month since I've joined the group. Uh, and I don't know, should we tell them the name of the group?
Sure.
Okay. So Annette and I met in a group called the Parentpreneur Foundation. It's a Parentpreneur Foundation, and they have their own intranet setup where members can come and mingle and chat and learn. And it's just wonderful. There's even a kitty space, and it's just been wonderful since day one. And just posting updates, Annette posted that she had applied for the FedEx grant, and they didn't choose her, and she was a little disappointed. And
Yeah.
my empathetic self, and my also very much committed to literacy development, because Annette too is very much committed. I just, as soon as I saw it, I immediately empathized, because I too have been consistently and repeatedly denied for funding in these last 2 years. And so much so that there was a small, very brief period from December to January where I was like, you know what, I've been doing this for a long time. I think it's time to give it up. So when I saw your message, I was like, oh, I need to, see if I'm able to encourage her to keep going, because what she's got over there is gold. So I wanted to talk to you about that. So we met in the group. It's been a little bit. We love the same things, and it just made sense for us to talk today. Like, yeah, meet the author, meet the innovator, meet the inventor. So, again, thank you for being here. So, um, let's see. I kind of like want to show. I don't know. Okay, we'll wait. We'll
What do-
wait. We'll
Go
wait.
ahead. Do what you do best.
Well, let's talk. Let's do the timeline. Let's give people the reasons. Let's give our audience the reasons why I'm so excited to talk to you. So you are a children's author,
I am
and how many books do you have? I saw like
14.
14. I saw 4.
It's 14.
Wow. And are you publishing yourself?
Yes. Since KDP came about, well, it
Yeah,
was Create Space through Amazon
totally.
first.
Hmm.
And then they changed over to KDP Amazon, and since they made that so much easier for authors to self-publish their own books, because it's hard, it's so hard to break through the traditional publishing.
It is.
It's very frustrating, and so when that came out, that gave me the opening to publish my own books. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I write and publish more than I sell. I'm so filled with stories. I mean, I'm just a human file cabinet full of stories. But
Yeah.
the 14th one was mainly for my granddaughter. Um, but I said that's the last one, probably for the rest of the year until I could get my brand out there and get my books marketed more.
Gotcha. So, Well, and I love that you said that, because here's a reality. It's always been a struggle for independent authors. I too started out as an independent author, and it just so happened that my program, there was a program that became of it. And that's how we moved when blossomed into Imagiread being a culturally responsive literacy development program um, provider. But I saw that many, many years ago when I first released the first book, that it was difficult for an independent author, especially in the children's world, to make a name, create a voice, and reach the audience, because the audience is it's really multi-layered. You're not just wanting to reach the children, you want to reach the parents of the children so that they can buy. There are a lot of layers, right? And it's a lot of administrative work, and sometimes it can take a little bit of the joy away from just being able to create like you want. But it's balance. And that's another reason why Imagiread immediately, when we decided, okay, we're going to go all in, it was also to support authors, because the notion is, so I'm rearing readers, and I'm insisting that readers be the best reader, um, and I'm doing so because they'll have plenty of books to read,
Right.
in the independent author space. So those are the stories that are, I won't say a tad more wrenching, but they're personal, they're authentic. um, they just have a way of their own, and they're not censored in any way. And
Right.
so there's a quality and a respect that I actually love and herald in children's, in an independent children's book. So 14 books. KDP made it easier. I know the tools always make it easier. You know so with the 14, like, what happened? I don't want to go straight into talking about this phenomenal invention, but tell us about the journey from, book one, book two, what have you, on up to, maybe I should be doing something else.
Well, first of all, my first book came about years and years and years ago. I have two boys. One is 32 and one is 23.
What?
So, my 32-year-old, when he was in daycare, um, they were in art, and this Caucasian little white boy was going to color his with a black crayon. And my son at the time is very literal, very, very, he took everything literally. So when I went to pick him up that day, he started crying. I mean, just booing all over the place. And I asked him what was wrong, and he said the little kid was going to color his face with a black crayon. And he was like, "Mommy, I'm not black, I'm brown." So, of course, I laughed, but that didn't do him any
Oh,
good.
of course.
It wasn't,
He's
to
like,
him, it
Ma,
wasn't funny. But
that's not funny.
so, in order for me to calm him down, I had to explain to him. I don't know how this other little kid knew about race at that age, but I did my best to explain to him that he was really talking about your race.
Hmm.
You are a black kid, African American in that sense. And your skin tone is brown. And I told him mine was pecan tan.
Hmm. Yeah, because it
So
is.
he liked that, but that always stuck with me. I started hearing a lot about kids and accepting, being bullied because of the darkness of their skin and things like that. And since that incident stuck with me, I decided to write a book about it,
Hmm.
and it's called "What Color Am I?" And
Mm.
I even used within the story, Crayola had they've come out with a second version, but now they have skin tone crayons. Did you know that?
I did, and I've
Yeah,
been saying I'm gonna get some.
yeah.
Yeah.
They have a second version now. So that's what I use as a tool inside the book to solve that dilemma. Is those crayons. So I wrote that. It took a long time. A traditional publisher wouldn't publish it, so I kind of set it aside. And then my second son was born. Um, and when he was around 6 months or so, he loved TV. He loved TV. But the thing about him was, like, if I had it on the news or something like that, or if they did a close up of a person, he thought that person was talking to him. So he'd be
Mm,
babbling back while they're talking. It's like he was literally having a conversation with them.
yeah.
So I just sat down one day and I was like, I wonder what is he really saying? Because at the time we could 6 months we can't talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started writing words to his thoughts. Um, so I wrote a baby poetry book called Through a Child's Eyes. But I never did get that published. That's still, I don't know why, but I probably later on down the line I may publish that for the little kids.
Yeah.
So that was my second baby. And then at that point I just started writing out. I took a class, a short class with the Institute of Children's Literature,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can better my writing skills. And from there, 14 books was born.
So this you just gave me their ages, and I'm thinking, wow, here I am thinking I'm a veteran, but that was a while ago. That was a while ago, and that speaks volumes about, again, the commitment and the willingness to say, yeah, I'm going to do this because there's a need and this story needs to be told. Um, Last month, I had the honor of interviewing Sandra Elaine Scott, who's a good friend. I've used her children's books in instruction with the children that I teach. And it's just amazing because, Sandra and I talk about it. Actually, all the guests, we always talk about this, how representation matters, how it's very important to, encapsulate culture to the best of our ability. Things have gotten so wonky with culture these days, you don't want to step on toes, you don't want to say the wrong
Right.
thing. But the reality of it is that we could have, some time ago started thinking about this so that it wouldn't be an overhaul. And that right now I just feel like, it's very sensitive. It's just, thinking of the crayons, the same thing with, skin color band-aids. We still have like a lot of flesh wound, we're trying to navigate these new conversations with pronouns and just all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for us to tell those stories because our children are looking at us like, well, what you got, adult,
Yeah,
make sense of this for me.
exactly.
Um, and it helps because I mean, just to keep piggybacking on that, this is one of the reasons why I love children's literature, because you can find so much wisdom. So it's often, and I've said this to my parents and parent sessions, and it's, yeah, I'm not, don't just read it for them, read it for you. Read it for you. You'll be able to grasp, some new wisdom, some insight, some intel that maybe you hadn't thought about before. You know,
Right.
it's the
Mm-hmm.
power of reading, the power of imagination. So I love that. So 14 books later, now we're moving along to when Mrs. Annie, who's in the real world, she's just Annette. But when she's reading and doing all this stuff that she does with kids, she's Mrs. Annie. So tell me, how did we get to, I think I need to create something for children?
Well, I don't know. I was inspired by this guy who made bed sheets toys. Uh, he printed games onto bed sheets. I came across that and I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
never heard of that. And then ding, 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 a light went off in my head. I'm like, if he can print games onto a bed sheet, then I should be able to print my stories onto
Mm-hmm.
bed sheets.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to reach out to him and he encouraged me to do so. So I started working on that. And then I don't know, all of a sudden I remembered something that my granddaughter had told me when she was around, she's 10 years old now. She was around 4 or 5 years old, and she says, Nana, she's a product of divorce, first of all, so I
Mm,
don't get to see her a lot.
as much, yeah.
Yeah. So she says, Nana, I wish you could read to me every night. She loved playing with my teddy bears, and she was like, I wish you could read to me through the bears every night. And I said, well, maybe somebody will come up with something,
Right.
and I'll be able to. So here we are, 6 years later. I am creating that bear that will play my stories, my original stories, five of them. I didn't realize when I told her that that person would be me.
Right. Totally.
Yeah, so
Totally.
that's I started working on Kobe, and I know a lot of people are gonna think, well, did you? And let me show him to
Yeah, because
you.
I was just waiting till you finished because I was like, where is he?
Yeah, this is Kobe, and
So cute.
his name came about because he's a koala bear.
Right.
So I took the KO from koala and the BE from bear and
Mhm.
named him Kobe. So not named after the basketball player.
Okay. Very good.
So I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you named him after the basketball." No, I just took those letters from koala bear and gave him gave him that name, not even realizing, thinking about Kobe himself. That's just the how my mom thinks.
Yeah.
But and then I was thinking, this is also another great marketing tool for my stories to get my stories out there. And then eventually, as I continue to make other plush animals, help other authors get their stories out there, not just mine.
Totally.
But so for now, mine will play 5 stories. It will play some soothing music as well. You'll be able to record your own stories or songs or messages. And then we're working on it. Hopefully, it'll have a headphone port so that kids, if they're on an airplane or traveling in the car, the parents can pre-record some things, some stories, some songs, and they can listen on the car ride or the plane ride, um, and things like that. And then you see his little book, his book. Um, it detaches, so the parent or the caregiver can put. Try to do this with one hand. It comes apart, and you can put a picture. The parent can put a picture of themselves or a family picture, whatever, on the inside, and of course it closes, and you can lay on him as a pillow.
Right.
So, but that's my granddaughter. She's the inspiration behind a lot of my books, but she's the biggest inspiration behind Kobe because you know.
Kobe is, I mean, I'm trying to contain my excitement because again, I'm so like, I just went out, it was like a couple months ago. I got 6 of the Care Bears, like just, you know, we're all just grown kids. That's all it is. Um, but when I saw the video where you talked about Kobe, I mean, I immediately fell in love. I didn't know the book was detachable though. Maybe you did say that in the video, but I just loved it. And I loved it because, yes, of course, it gives you an opportunity to get into the household with your work, but there's also an opportunity to personalize it. And what I love the most was that it is disrupting this idea of constantly being engaged with technology from a screen perspective, right?
Right,
Which
right.
is chipping away, at our children, neurologically. So it's, yeah, do you need Wi-Fi for him to work?
Well, you'll record. I guess you could record it from your phone on your phone, upload it to your computer, and then it downloads from the computer to the USB.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to get too technical with it because there was some issues with other teddy bears like that. They got real technical with it, and people started hacking and saying things inside the teddy bear that inappropriate, just stuff
Oh,
like
I can
that. So I
imagine.
didn't I
Yeah.
didn't really want to get too technical with this. I want to be able to keep it as a plush, a comfort, a way to involve the parents and the kids at nighttime. Um, Kids and parents can pre-record stories before they go to work, and it'll be on there at nighttime, so they're not always listening to my stories, but the parents can put more stories or songs or messages or whatever within the bear, but you use it with the USB.
Gotcha. Okay. But that's still, it's not rocket science, you know? It can be done, and it's not your typical tech. It's not a screen. It's just okay, engage, you can rest. I love it. I mean, I'm thinking road trip. I mean, again, I just absolutely love it. So first and foremost, before anything, I have to say congratulations again. It's
Thank
That's
you.
a big deal. And I love it. I love it. So you got the prototype. This is the second version?
This is the second. The first version was a mess. I won't even show him.
Okay.
I just it's I guess you go. I'm learning as I go.
Totally.
I wished I had. That's one of the things about my journey. It hasn't really been easy. The first manufacturer just did not. They took my money, thousands of dollars, and they did not uphold their end of the bargain, as far
Mm,
as being able to put the module within the teddy bear and the teddy bear, right? It was just the koala bear was just awful.
yeah.
um, um, the way they did it. And so I ended up hiring a toy consultant, to help me find another manufacturer, because the toy consultant, that's what she specializes in. She made toys for McDonald's and different restaurants like that. So she knew a lot more than I did.
Totally.
And so we were able to find the manufacturer that made this one. But the only reason I didn't stay with her is because she can't mass produce. She can
Mm,
make your prototypes,
but that's it.
but that's it.
Yeah.
She couldn't mass produce. So um, I end up having to find a third manufacturer, and so they're working on it now. We're having some problems with the module, but I got a message last night that they had solved the problem. So
Oh,
hoping
awesome.
I'm
Awesome.
hoping they have solved the problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So then will that make, Kobe available? Like, is there an ETA? Do you think?
Um, I'm hoping around June. I'm not sure because their shipping time from China is awful.
Yeah,
So
especially
even if
now.
they were to complete this within the next couple of weeks, the shipping itself is going to take about a month, because
Yeah.
I'm to
Mm,
ship from I'm shipping from China, and then it's not air is quicker, but it's
more
so
expensive. Yeah,
expensive.
it is.
So I'm having to do by sea, and people's things are sitting out there and sitting, but that was the route I had to go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that is what's going to eat up a lot of my time. I am doing We'll have pre-sales,
Yeah.
but it's with the contingency that they have to understand that it's gonna take a while.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So it'll be available. By the way, we can learn so much about, I mean, all 14 books. Again, I saw like four, and I know that's because maybe I didn't click the tab, but I'm thinking, I mean, the website is phenomenal. There's so much information at Mrs. Annie books .com. So scrolling across the bottom, and then you're on Facebook and Instagram, right?
Right. I'm on all Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as Mrs. Annie Books.
Okay. So please, please, please follow her. Please follow Miss Annette. I mean, this is like phenomenal. So prototype is becoming. We figured out the kinks. The module is done. Like, we got it right. So we're thinking June. And who, one of the things that when we talk about pitching and venture capital and all of this, trying to source capital, um, I'm sure you've heard this as I've heard it. Well, who's your target market? Who are you going after? Who would you say in your heart of hearts, despite not pitching, not thinking about a presentation, would thoroughly enjoy Kobe?
I mean, my biggest target market is children,
Yeah,
and their parents. And I'm thinking, I would love to get into St. Jude hospitals because the parents, for instance, can't. Some I know they can't stay with their kids, especially at nights. Some do, probably some don't or can't, not able to. And it would be so good for these kids to be able to hold on to Kobe and listen to their parents' voice or their grandparents or aunts or uncles' voice through Kobe for comfort.
totally.
Um, I think about not only hospitals, I think about the services, people that are away from their children that are in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, purchasing Kobe, pre recording some things on here for them and sending it to their children, and the
Totally.
kids will have that interaction, be able to go to bed at night and hold Kobe and be able to listen to their parents' voice, their mom or dad or, whomever is in the service. Um, I think about um, autistic children.
Mm-hmm.
Some kids have a hard time being away from their parents, but if they could hear their parents' voice through Kobe, I'm thinking that would bring them some comfort.
Totally.
There's just you know so many avenues that I want to take with Kobe, um, that I think he would help.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of my books that's recorded in is a bullying book, um, and that's what's printed on the sheets too. My bullying book. Um, so I think kids, that's dealing with bullying, it would help them.
Yeah. Yeah. From a physiological standpoint, I can totally see it. So, wow, that's a lot. So then we know what to like hunker down and really, really, pray for to happen. Like
Yeah,
we need to, we need this to connect with children because it is. And this is again when we decided to create Meet the Author, part of it was of course, just, for families in the communities to just meet some really awesome authors. But digging deeper, when we talk about author's purpose and all that goes into creating these stories, that, implies that we are still, when you talked about your son, advocating for literal environments, for there to be access to literacy, to storytelling, to that bond, and there are many, many reasons why, this is why I don't do the pointing the finger thing at parents. Um, I just don't like we're all just having a human experience, you know.
right. Hmm.
But when we think about, all those you just named, all of the children, all the families, all of the situations, circumstances that Kobe could benefit and really, find a place at home for, it speaks to that just being scratching the surface. Illiteracy and not having someone to read to them, not being able to read for a myriad of different challenges is real. It happens all the time, you know?
Right, right.
Um, and this again, as soon as I saw it straight away, I said, this is the answer. This is it. I'm like, don't give up. Keep going. I know it's frustrating, but it's
Very much,
okay.
very
Yeah,
much
it's
so.
very frustrating. Trust me. Trust me, I get it. But I do know that I can say this for me, and I'm wondering if this is for you, that I had to pull back and really evaluate my positioning and my desire, because I am in this for impact. Now, of course, I need money to make impact. you know, that's how these people set it up. But it's what am I doing, without the money? That needs to be priority. I need to continue to engage. I need to continue to have this conversation. Hence why we started the series, why we started our other series, why we have the podcast where we read stories, because there's a need. And if I just, keep pushing, that need, I'm hopeful will be fulfilled. So, do you feel that way, at a point, even though it does get hard? Do you see the value in what you're doing? Because it's phenomenal.
I do. I always say, as long as I with my books, if I could just touch one kid each book,
Yeah.
I've touched, somebody. One of my books is called Divorce um, Through a Child's Eyes, Dear Mama and Dad. It's a letter from a child's point of view to the mother and father about divorce. And I was at a book signing, and one of the little boy was reading it, and he started crying, and he's I guess he saw himself in that story. It
Yeah.
touched him,
Yeah.
and that's my purpose. As long as I touch a child, I probably won't. Well, I won't say I won't ever be number one bestseller with my books, but as long as I can touch a
Yeah.
child um, heart, or they make them laugh, or they see themselves in my book, then mission accomplished.
Totally. 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 So how has, and I know this isn't on the script, so forgive me. We're safe. We're fine. We're doing great right now, Um, but how has it been, when we think about the stories? And I know, I saw the photos, like me, it's, we used to going into the schools, reading and engaging with children. How has it been since the pandemic? Have you been able to connect with any classrooms, any groups of children?
I not really. I did have a couple of weeks ago. I had a virtual book reading. I read my bullying book
Hmm.
to a class. That was my first reading since the pandemic. So
Wow.
first virtual that I've ever done, and
Wow.
they really enjoyed it. Um, I was nervous as all get out, but I
You
got
did it.
through it.
You did it. You did it.
I
Very
have
good.
stage fright really bad. It's people don't realize that that's a real thing.
It's real. So I sing, and I remember when I used to sing, when I sung back when I sung with the choir, it wasn't the same. But when I started doing solo and I started doing one woman shows, it was really bad, and it took me a couple years to get over it. Yeah, it is. It's bad.
Yeah,
It's bad. I get
yeah,
it.
it's
Yeah.
bad. People are like, "Well, they're just children." Yeah, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't affect just being in front of people. I mean, it affects different parts of my life. So,
Totally.
um, yeah, it's a real thing. But people tell you the more you do it, the the easier it gets. They say.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And then, and often with me, like what I knew, and I've outside of singing, and that's why I knew, I was like, this is off. And I knew it was just I hadn't done it in a while. But in pushing through it, you'll find that, when the fear and the anxiety starts to subside, that the passion really just it flows as it should.
Hmm.
It's just getting out of the head for those few moments into 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing right now, you know
Hmm.
but it does get easier, and you get better, and people are like, I love that, and you're like, wow, okay, I can do that again. Yeah, it does get easier. And two, you think when we think about literacy, and I was just talking with yet another author about this. When we think about literacy, we're thinking about confidence. One of the things, because I also teach adults how to read, and one of the things as an empath, as one who's, emotionally intelligent, if you will, such a buzzword these days. But when you think about reading and struggling and or reluctant readers, which is our primary focus at this stage in Imagiread's in its journey, you think about confidence. And I think about that a lot with children because during programming, I'll rotate the kids. And that would, that's where the idea of Imagiread with me came from because they would have to read.
Mm-hmm.
And you could immediately tell my struggling and or reluctant readers, it was all in the body language, the rocking back and forth, the moving up, okay, so I'm nervous. And it's why we do so many meditative practices, prior to instruction and even throughout. It's like, okay, do we need to take 3, deep breaths? It's okay. Like nobody in here, like we're fine. We're all family. You're getting better at something. So it's your
Right.
time to practice. And then the big knowing is there's no such thing as perfect, only perfect practice. So you
Right.
just keep going until you get there. But it says something about, the joke where it's like, well, all doctors need a doctor, so it's like, oh, well, the storyteller needs help. you know, if she's frozen, it's like, wait, are we waiting for a story? So I love that. It'll get better. It'll get better. It'll get better. I mean, I'm listening to you now, I'm watching you now, and I'm like, but it's phenomenal. You're phenomenal. What do you mean? So I get it. I get it. I get it.
I
So
appreciate that.
you are more than welcome. So June in we have the stories. Now, did you think, because I know you said they can record, because I meant to ask you this when we were talking about it a second ago. They can record. Have you thought to extend it where you're featuring, like you said, other stories from other independent authors?
I'm still trying to work that out in my head how I would do that. Um, so that I want to help. There's so many authors out there that are in the same position I was in, and trying to get their stories out there. So I'm not sure how to do that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do want to help other authors in that sense. That's my business name is Ancorp Literary Works. So way before, when I was thinking about writing, I was thinking about I would want to help other authors
Yeah.
before even, when I first started writing. And then I felt like this would be a good avenue to as well. But I can't, I haven't quite figured that out yet.
Yeah. It makes me think of some things that we'll talk about offline. Yeah. To maybe look at a model to see. Because remember, it's we support the authors and the authors get the work out there and then the children can't read it. That's a problem. So,
Mhm.
so you're fulfilling you fix that problem. And so
Mhm.
now it's okay, so we need more stories, right?
Right.
Um and maybe Kobe has brothers and sisters. I'm not trying to put anything else on your plate. Really I am, but I'm not.
Well, there are going to be other animals. It won't be the
Very
koala
good.
bears. So there are going to be other animals with
That's gonna be nice.
yeah, with more stories, and it'll still probably be the same concept, but just different animals, different stories. So they'll
Gotcha.
have options.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And
Mhm.
I love, I meant to tell you this too. I love that you named him Kobe and your disclaimer was not Bryant. I took the letters. My youngest son, that is exactly how we named him. I took the 2 letters from my first name and the 2 first letters from his father's first name, and that's how we got his name. So I just thought that was so cute when you said it. Like, yeah, it works. It works.
Even the patent office is questioning. I had to send in because I'm trying to get my sheets and the bear patent,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they sent me this email about the name Kobe. I should have
Yeah.
known that was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Is that after a human person or something like that? It asks.
And then
So,
he trademarked he did a lot while he was living for his legacy. So I can imagine why they would, come back and say, "Hey, whoa, whoa, what's this?" Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
he was nowhere in my mind.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you. Like basketball. No. I feel you. I do. I do. I do. So I just love it. I can't say enough how I'm so excited to be able to talk to you. I just, again, love what you're doing. Wow. I'm just, of course, while you're talking and while we're talking, I have so many things running in the back of my head. Like, yeah, we have to talk offline. But really wanted our audience and the Imagine Reading family to meet you and to learn more about not just your books, but this incredible opportunity. I would love to see the sheets too. Do you have the sheets on the website?
Yes, you can go. Yeah, when they go to Mrs. Annie Books, click on Story Time,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be able to see not the actual. I don't know if I put the actual. I think I made a few pictures
Okay.
on there from
Okay.
the where the manufacturer had sent me some pictures.
Okay.
But I'm going to go back through the photographer, the videographer, so that I could get some professional pictures made of it.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
has the sheet has. I'm I'm very I think way outside of the box.
Mm-hmm. That's a good imagination. It's everything. Yeah.
My imagination is crazy. I don't know how I come up with some of this stuff,
Yeah.
but of course, like I said, I was inspired by that did the game sheets. So my sheets has it has the illustrations printed on the sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they took another sheet and cut it into squares, flaps,
Mm-hmm.
and that has the actual story on it.
Yeah.
So you and it's sewn on top of the illustration. So you'll read a page and open it with either a zipper, a snap, or a Velcro. That's going to teach sensory and teach how to do zippers and snaps and
Totally.
things like that. So they'll open it up to see the illustration and either snap it back or zip it back or Velcro it back, and then um, it's laid out on the sheet like that. And then it has a big open book with questions. It has a keyboard where they can imagine that they're typing their own story, and it has a word search game on it.
Because I'm like, wait, full size, queen size? Like,
It's a twin. It's a
of
twin.
course it is. I was like, really, Miss Annette? Like,
The
I
fitted
want these sheets.
the fitted has the cover of the story. On the
Wow.
whole fitted sheet is just the cover of the book, and then the top sheet, because a bed has your fitted sheet, the
Right.
top
And
sheet,
the top sheet. Yeah. Yeah.
and then the
Your comforter, what
pillowcases.
have you. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Nice. Gosh, I love that. Especially again, because when we're talking about, so just this weekend, yesterday we did Saturday morning with Imagiread, and we talked about the Imagiread difference and why, families should trust us with their learners. And one of the, we did two little segments. So one was, reading to learn versus learning to read and vice versa, right? And what happens developmentally through those periods. And if there are things that are missing, if you will, sensory, manipulative play, how often, that learner will suffer and not be supported with the skills that they need. So when we're talking about, this dual purpose where it's okay, so you need sheets. Why wouldn't I buy the baby these sheets?
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? This is a
right,
necessity.
right,
I mean, and then there's hygiene, a conversation about hygiene. There's so many conversations, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That it's just incredible. Again, this is why I'm like, no, don't you quit. This is phenomenal. Don't you quit. because you've tapped in, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen. These are brilliant.
I hope
Congratulations again.
so. I said my imagination is really wild, and I hope this is just not something that I've created from my imagination that, that's not going to benefit anyone. I'm hoping they both benefit in one way or another.
Totally. I mean, it's too, speaking to the parentpreneur group. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now and you think that you would love to be a part of the group, because when I say it's high energy, it's all authentic, it's so genuine. Like, I'm burnt out with groups. You have to think way back from my sales days, and I'm just like blah blah blah. And it's the introvert in me, right? It's like another group, but I was blown away. I really was. I was like, wow, this is nice.
It's so totally different. This Parentpreneur Foundation, I am with a lot of groups, and I have never benefited more from any group than I have with this one. I won the grant. I don't know if you probably know, but I won my first ever grant through Parentpreneur Foundation.
Nice.
Um,
Nice. I applied too
so
late. I applied like the day before, and he was like, Tiff, sorry. I picked everybody. You can't wait till the last minute. And even with that, I appreciated it, just the opportunity,
yeah,
and the words of encouragement. Because again, I'm used to, I've had some really big yeses, but I also have had a lot of little no's. And it's just the law of large numbers. You
yeah,
got to keep pushing, So I'm
right.
glad you won it. But it is a phenomenal group.
It is, and man, I call myself simple. I'm an introverted, simple person. I'm not very big with big words.
Yeah,
Um, but there are some really intelligent people in that group,
I agree.
knowledgeable people in
Totally.
that group that are so willing to help you when if you put it out there. Somebody knows something in
I
that group.
agree. I agree. I
Somebody
agree.
knows something, and James, the creator of that group, man, he just goes all out above and beyond to help us.
I mean, it's a testament for sure, and it's the environment that I've always, when I think of myself, because I'm a very familial and communal person. But again, being an introvert, it's like I'm good because not all groups have the energy.
Hmm.
It's definitely something to know. In fact, I owe him a video, about the benefits, just enjoying it. And it's been that same thing, the creativity, the intellect, just the willingness to network, the warm welcomes, like just all of it. It's just been amazing. So I
Hmm.
would encourage, if you're watching right now, you're watching later, to those who may be joining us, our Imagireading family, if you are interested in finding out more about the Parentpreneur Foundation, of course you can Google it, but you can contact me here via Imagiread, or contact Miss Annette, and just, we'll send you a join link, and you'll be just as amazed as we are, if not more so. But that does again speak to progression and why we can't give up, because these things are happening, and time and space culturally for us works a little different, and we acknowledge that. So in the meantime, we stick together. We have each other, you know.
Right.
Yeah, we have each other. I just can't say enough. Like, I'm just blown away. I'm like, sheets. I didn't see the sheets. So now I'm about to be on the website. Like, um, because we just had my youngest son, his brother. They're like, step. I hate to even use that word, but they just had a baby, and I'm literally like, okay, yeah. I'm always like, I do not. If I'm gonna buy you some books, I'm not buying you nothing else for books. I'm sorry, But I'm like, sheets just changes the game, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
I was floored when I saw the game sheets, and that when I saw the game sheets, um, that light bulb went off in
just
my
went
head.
off. Yeah,
Yeah, and I started researching, and nowhere can you find
yeah. Good,
thing like that.
good, absolutely good. It's yours, and I mean, just developing it with heart. You know, I want this to reach the children that it can benefit. I want
Yeah,
this to reach the family. When you were talking, like I said, so many things are running through my head. You think homeless shelters,
Yeah.
Think family shelters. You just think so many things.
Yeah. And
Um,
literally be taking the book to bed.
right. Totally. It's like, you know what? Good, get that time in. But then again, it's comforting. And then if you had Kobe in addition, it's just like it's awesome. It is. It is. Wow. Okay, so tell me this because we're winding down in time. So Kobe's voice your voice?
No, the stories, there's 5 stories on there. 4 of them I hired 2 voiceovers. So the bullying book has a different voice than because I wanted all 5 stories to just be the same person, but
Hmm.
I couldn't get in touch with the lady that did the bullying book. So the other 4 stories will have the same voice. I tried to I it was going to be my voice reading the stories, but I feel like I'm just so my voice is too southern.
You think so?
I didn't I even when I sing, I don't like listening to my sing. I don't like listening to my voice when I read. I even have an oh, what do you call it, where I go online and read to the children.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Oh my goodness. It just slipped my mind.
It
But anyway,
audible? Like an
no,
audible, like
it's
an
not an
audible.
audible. It's a website that I go on and read to the children. Um, I have different stories that I just go on there and read. They don't see me, but they can hear me. But I don't even like hearing myself read the stories. I'm just
Really?
weird like that. So when I recorded myself reading my stories to be installed in Kobe, I was like, oh,
So,
this is,
and I guess this is again, this is because I'm listening to you. And normally, a lot of people say for me, it's like, Tiff, you have a very soothing voice. Like, even in my music, like this first album, it's straight chill. But I'm listening to you and I'm like, your voice I love it. Like, it's so calm, it's so soothing. It's not dry eye, itchy eye. Yeah, I love
I
it.
people say that you have such a soothing voice. I did I had my own call center. I worked from home
Yeah,
for about 12, 13 years. And I heard that a lot. You have such a soothing voice. And some people will say, is this a recording?
yeah,
I have to tell them I'm very much real.
yeah. Arms,
But
legs. Yeah.
I tried, but I didn't like my own voice. So there's 2 different voices that kids will hear.
Oh man. I mean, okay. Because I get it. If the anxiety is there, we talked about the stage fright, but I just think it would just be so awesome. Maybe down the road.
Maybe if I get into a studio and they can record and edit and all of that and make it sound professional. Well, I want it not so. I want it to be authentic. I mean, like they're actually hearing a parent read to them, and it is not so. What's the word? I don't know what word I'm looking for, but one day down the line, maybe
Yeah.
if I
Yeah.
can get
I
in the studio and get it done right.
think that would be phenomenal. Honestly. I do. I do. So follow on Facebook and Instagram. I'm summing up because our time is ticking. We have 14 books, all very important topics, just beautiful storytelling. We have sheets that have the stories, they're multi-sensory, so they can support neurodiverse learners, differently abled children. And then we have Kobe coming out hopefully in June, if Kobe can, hopefully know how to swim. um, in pre-sale to watch. So this is why it's follow Miss Annette. Um, Make sure you staying in touch and so that you can be, on the list, you can be in the know when it comes out. Cause it's a phenomenal gift. Like literally when it hit me that today was Easter, I'm like, so you know how we're still doing Easter baskets. What a beautiful gift in lieu of Easter basket. Because I feel some kind of way about candy too. It's like, no, don't give the babies no
Uh,
candy. So what a beautiful gift, you know, to give in lieu of the candy and the baskets and a bunch of stuff that you'll, throw away. Keep the basket maybe,
right, right.
What a beautiful gift. And I mean, and I've been thinking about that all day. Like, wow, I can't wait to talk about Kobe.
Yeah,
So
I love me. I have a picture on there on my website. I sit with this elderly gentleman. He's in his 80s, and he has a picture with Kobe. Even he loves it.
yes. I mean, when you said it, I'm telling you, I'm like, okay, so we're gonna have to talk offline. But I used to facilitate programming at the senior citizens home. And what we would do, well, we wanted to bring children in because of that, generational connection. Especially patients who have Alzheimer's, dementia and so forth. Um, but I'm just like, wow, to do just a story time, for senior citizens. Like Kobe can just do so much. And that's why I'm like, I just don't give up. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll definitely talk offline. We'll continue to follow you and stay engaged. Of course, I'll see you in the group, but I just really thank you for taking the time today, being, short notice, because I just really wanted to talk to you. I wanted to feature you. As soon as I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Don't let that no, deter you. Keep going. This is amazing. Every child should
Okay.
have one of these,
Right.
so I'm
Okay.
excited. Anything else you want to say to the audience? Anything else you want to say to children, especially those, think about children who may struggle and may not necessarily like reading. What would you say to them and their families?
Um, Kobe is actually, and the sheets are going to be a way for you to um, develop that love of reading again. Hopefully,
Yeah.
inspire you to put the electronics down and pick up a book
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
follow along with him as he read to you,
Yeah.
or listen to your parent or caregiver's voice as they read to you. Pick
Yeah.
up a book, feel the page, turn the page, and follow along. And that way, that'll help you develop a love of reading.
Yeah.
It'll take you on a journey. You'll be able to travel in places that you've never gone before through reading. You'll be able to find yourself in books. Um, so that's what I would tell children.
That's phenomenal. Yeah. Because reading is everything. It really is. It
Hmm.
really is. It really is. I'm not going to get on my reading soapbox because again, there are, millions of children still struggling, millions of parents, caregivers, senior citizens. Functional illiteracy is a problem. And it's one
Hmm.
that I'm just, chipping away at and
Yeah.
you chipping away at, it's everything. It's what feeds that crazy imagination. That's really good. It's not crazy at all, but the way it comes and goes sometimes is a little
Yeah.
like, hmm, like where'd that come from? You know? So I get it. And this is a 21st century skill, curiosity, collaboration, communication, creativity. These are all the 21st century power skills that our children will need to have to function, throughout the future of education and the future of work. And so this conversation in particular was so timely, and I can't thank you enough. I can't thank
Well,
you
I
enough.
thank you. I'm hoping to reach a whole new generation of children with my two ideas. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you, doing this as
You're
well.
you're welcome. You're welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to follow Miss Annette. Purchase those books. Mother's Day is coming up. I don't know that we, think about some of the more off holidays, right? We don't really think about like, oh no, think of something different. Think of something new, right? Mom has a billion things to do. A billion. I know I do, you know. So yes, to know, okay, I put him in the bed, but I need to stay up and work. And honestly, I need to do this. Kobe got it. You know,
Yeah.
that's a gift for me. That's a gift for me. So it's thinking more about this is why we do this, to highlight these authors that are doing the real work of spreading the word of the power of literacy and imagination. And, follow Miss Annette, stay focused, follow her, stay in tune, you know, order Kobe, order the sheets, engage with her, ask her questions, about stories, which story would be best. You have 14. What do you think here and there? Do that do that. And I have a feeling we're gonna be on camera again soon because there's so many ideas running through my head right now.
Okay.
So many. So that is all. I'm gonna let you go. Any plans for the rest of the evening?
I'm about to go find some food somewhere.
Yeah, me too. Food.
Granddaughter just left. She was sick the entire weekend. So I had to play
Oh,
mommy all weekend. So she just left to go back to her mom's. I hate that.
yeah, yeah,
So I'm now about to go spend a little time with hubby and go find some.
yeah. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Well, hug Kobe for me. Soon I will have my own. I can't wait. And, to everybody watching again, if you're celebrating the holiday today, hope you're having a wonderful holiday and can't wait to talk to you offline. But what I'll do is I'll send you a message. Don't forget, if you're interested in being a part of Parentpreneur, feel free to reach out to myself via Imagiread. We are also on Facebook and Instagram, excuse me. You can visit our brand new website, www.imagiread.com. We are actively seeking reluctant and or struggling readers, those who may be deemed as such, ages 9 to 12, for our beta program for Imagireading Adventures. It is well underway. So if you know any learners that are struggling, we would love to support them with free programming, instruction, and ongoing support. But that's it for now. I'm going to let Miss Annette go get some food. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Let's see here.